What the hell are you talking about? Will you stop? That's just BS. Anybody who knows boxing, everybody who watches boxing knows that David Benavidez is the real deal. Now, that doesn't mean he'd beat you, because anybody could fall if you catch him right. We know who you are, Canelo, you big time. But that ain't what America has been asking for. That ain't what the boxing world has been asking for. The boxing world, Canelo Alvarez, has been asking you to go in the ring against David Benavidez.
Stephen A. Smith drew a line in the sand, publicly calling out Canelo Alvarez for hiding behind excuses to avoid a defining clash with David Benavidez. He zeroes in on the hypocrisy of Canelo hand-picking smaller opponents while ignoring an undefeated knockout artist in his own division.
Who's undefeated, a knockout artist, has smoked everybody in his path. He's undefeated, and he's been asking for you. And oh, by the way, Canelo Alvarez, you could get $150 million for fighting David Benavidez. The Latino population alone will ensure that you get that fight. Yo! You don't get to say something like that. You don't get to say he's nothing, he's nothing, he's nothing. He happens to be a champion who's a knockout artist who's undefeated.
Highlighting the double standard, Smith points out how easily Canelo agreed to step into the ring with a smaller fighter. He argues that facing a legitimate threat like Benavidez isn't just high risk, but the exact kind of high-stakes fight boxing need.
That's what it is. You fought him. He fights at 154, you fight at 168, but you still got in the ring with him. Why won't you get in the ring with David Benavidez? Again, I'm not saying you'd lose. What I'm saying is, there's a damn good chance you could. And if you could, that makes it for an epic fight. Everybody wants to see you against David Benavidez. Everybody. Don't do that to us. If you want to make him wait and say, I want to make this money, fine, even though you made gobs and gobs of money, and the contingent will follow you wherever you go because you that big time, you that box office.
Addressing Canelo's recent fight choices, Stephen A. makes it clear that fans aren't interested in unrequested rematches or sidestep bout. He calls on the champion to respect the sport and give the Mexican monster the shot everyone has been waiting for.
For Bivol. Who was asking for that? Nobody cared about that fight. You getting ready for him and going. A lot of people ain't clamoring for that. When you decided to fight Charlo, people weren't clamoring for that. We want Canelo Alvarez versus David Benavidez. And for respect for the sport, which I know you have, Canelo, I'm not accusing you of not having that. But for respect for the sport, at least talk about giving that Mexican monster, which is what Mike Tyson calls him, a chance.
Even Benavidez lashes out at Canelo and accuses him of ducking, pointing directly to the champion's struggles against larger physical opponents as the real reason for the delay. He makes it clear that Canelo recognizes the dangerous combination of speed, power, and relentless grit he brings to the table.
Scared him. You know, if you have a fighter talking so much trash in front of you, why don't you make an example of him to the world? Beat me in the ring and make a whole lot of money. But Canelo Alvarez, as you can see from every time he fights a guy that's big with power, like Bivol, you know what I mean? And he's not able to suppress these fighters as much as he's able to suppress the little fighters. You know what I mean? So he sees a lot of things in me that he can't stop. You know, not only does he see speed, does he see power, but he sees a lot of heart in me. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm going in there and I want to prove myself to the world that I'm the greatest fighter. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't scare me to get in there with another great fighter because I know that elevates.
Benavidez doubles down on Canelo's fear, warning that the champion blew his only real window of opportunity by waiting too long to make the fight. He declares that as he steps into his absolute prime, his evolving ring craft and warrior mentality make him a far more dangerous threat today than ever before.
He should have took the fight with me way back then, because if he had a chance to beat me, it would have been back then. He has no chance of beating me now, especially now. I'm getting all this confidence. You know, I'm stepping into my prime. You know, I'm able to deal with these bigger shows better. You know what I mean? I'm able to thrive in these shows. I'm able to, every time I fight, I'm always winning by a significant amount. You know what I mean? So I'm learning my craft better and better each and every single fight. I'm gaining more confidence every single fight, and Like I said, I really want to go in there and hurt people. I'm not a boxer. I'm a warrior, and I go in there, I tear.
Jose Benavidez Sr. rips into Canelo for hiding from real danger. 7. Contrastingly, hyping his son as an elite warrior who actively seeks out the absolute toughest fights. He makes it clear that while others look for easy paydays, David is built to crush high-stakes competition.
David's not a human. He wants to get, he don't want no tune-ups. He don't want easy fights. He wants the big boys. He wants the guys that are going to challenge him and going to bring danger. He wants to prove to people that he's the best. And he will prove it, and he will look badass.
Fuming over the champion's fear, Benavidez Sr. breaks down the explosive toolkit that makes his son virtually untouchable in the ring. He insists that Canelo knows exactly what he's avoiding. An unstoppable powerhouse with no weaknesses across multiple divisions.
Now, there's no ingredient. There's nothing to beat the Mexican monster. What I seen, even me, I'm impressed. I'm like, what the f? How does he throw those punches like the Golovkin shots? How did he drop that hand and hit you? And then he's gonna do it again, but he changed it down. Uppercuts, everything, bro, footwork, defense, Right now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't see any danger for David Benavidez at 175 and at cruiserweight or I don't see anything.
De La Hoya unloads on Canelo for crippling the sport, accusing the champion of lacking the nerve to risk his record against top-tier talent. He tears down the narrative that boxing is broken, insisting the real problem is stars who simply refuse to fight legitimate threat.
Boxing is broken, and why can't we fix this, and why can we fix that? And I'm thinking to my head, well, it's not the sport that's broken, because us promoters, managers, everybody involved in boxing, we want to make those big fights happen. But when you're a fighter that does not want to fight the top guys, then that's the problem. The fighters not having literally the balls to go up there and fight the toughest challenges, because maybe you might be protecting your O, maybe you're never scared, but you just don't want to face certain...
Lashing out over failed negotiations, De La Hoya exposes how Canelo completely shut down every attempt to make the Benavidez showdown a reality. He blasts the champion for running away from the bargaining table, throwing out relentless excuses to keep dodging his most dangerous challenger.
I believe, and we've heard it over and over and over again, Benavidez calling out Canelo. Why didn't Canelo want to fight Benavidez? You have to ask that to Canelo. I have my answer.
You have to ask. You were trying to negotiate. You were trying to make that fight, right?
We couldn't get him to the table at all. Excuse after excuse. I mean, come on. Benavidez was chasing you for so long.
Teddy Atlas blasts Canelo's obvious reluctance to face Benavidez. 12. Calling out the superstar for hiding behind his massive financial power, he argues that while Canelo holds all the cards, his refusal to make the fight proves he has zero interest in stepping in with real danger.
It's not what I want to see, it's what Canelo wants to see. I don't think he wants to see Benavidez. And I'm not knocking him. He's a great fighter, Canelo. He's the cash king. He's all that. I get it, although the heavyweights have been doing pretty good with big hands lately, especially with Mr. Turkey Al-Sheikh involved. But, and deservingly so, the fights that they've been doing and putting on, Usyk and Fury and Dubois, everything. But I will say that, if anything, Benavidez didn't do himself any favors if he wants to be in the Canelo sweepstakes with that performance.
Teddy Atlas lays into Canelo's fanatic defenders, exposing how the champion uses his leverage to cherry-pick opponents and dodge risky matchups. He tears into the double standard, insisting that no amount of star power excuses Canelo from constantly avoiding his top threat.
There's going to be the Canelo, maniacs out there, the pom-pom. Where's my pom-poms? I don't have the pom-pom. Pom-pom, okay, peppermint, Canelo, Look, I think Canelo's great. I have nothing against him. He does get the advantage of picking his spots more than other guys because he brings the money. I understand that. but he does get the chance to avoid guys if he wants to. He's fought everyone too. He's fought a lot of good fights. I get the resume. He's tremendous. Please, you guys, do what you want to do. Take it the way you want to take it. But don't say that I don't respect him or that he's not a good fighter. He is. He's a damn good fighter. But he does pick his spots too because he can.
Meanwhile, Canelo Alvarez fires back at the constant callouts, dismissing his critics and claiming fighters are simply clout chasing for a massive payday. He defends his record by arguing he already cleaned out the entire division to become undisputed, while others sat back.
Every fight is calling me out, no? Obviously, they looking for the payday. No, it's a reason they always calling me out. But you know, when we are like both in 168, I fought every champion at the division. I say to myself, why he never fight those champions? Then if he was a champion at that point, I fight him because my goal was being undisputed. So
refusing to give in to the pressure, Canelo scoffs at the relentless demands for the Benavidez matchup. He doubles down on ignoring the noise, insisting that everyone calling his name is just desperate to cash in on his star power.
Right now it's just impossible. You know, it's impossible. He can fight with the heavyweights. You know what I mean?
You're talking about him fighting Usyk, right?
Yeah. So, but you know, I understand why he's calling me out or they are calling me out, but it's fine.
However, Mike Coppinger, on an insider panel, warns that avoiding the biggest challenges ultimately destroys a fighter's legacy in the eyes of history. He points out that boxing fans never forget when an elite champion refuses to step up, leaving a permanent stain on an otherwise legendary career.
Are we, the boxing fans, the boxing guys, going to take credit away from Canelo or Roy? And I think the answer to that is no. But what I think I'm talking about is when you talk about legacy, it's perception, it's public perception.
Okay.
I think about now the sad sight of seeing Roy Jones mocked by Joe Calzaghe. You know, do I think Jones would beat Calzaghe in their primes? Of course, but I can't take that memory out of my head.
That's a good point. But I'm going to keep the image of the Roy that I love to grow up watching.
Susceptible to not.
Max Kellerman tears apart the endless excuses used to protect a champion's record, comparing them to some of boxing's greatest historical downfalls. He argues that carefully trying to preserve a legacy eventually backfires, permanently damaging how fans remember a fighter's true greatness.
I explained to you about Roberto Duran. Roberto Duran lost one non-title fight against Esteban de Jesus, who turned out to be a great fighter, on points. And then he avenged that loss twice by knockout to unify the lightweight title. Made 12 title defenses, fought like 10 non-title fights a year, was something like 70-something and won when he fought Sugar Ray Leonard in Sugar Ray Leonard's prime, 2 divisions above lightweight, and beat him. Right? Now, at that point, Duran cemented his legacy. However, after No Mas, he lost to Kirkland Lang. He lost to Wilfred Benitez. Benitez you could lose to. Kirkland Lang you can't lose to if you're Roberto Duran. And when I told you that, hey, but Duran was so great that he wound up beating Iran Barkley at super middleweight and knocked him down in the fight of the year, that Duran was so great, he did X, Y, and Z. You're like, yeah, but he lost to this guy and that guy and that guy. No. That's a thing that people like you
it was more
hold against him.
You gave me all these excuses. What is all shame he made? I don't want to hear none of that.
Breaking down Canelo's psychological shift, the pair explain how being outmatched by a naturally bigger fighter shattered his willingness to take major risks. They argue that physical limitations and wounded pride are the real reasons Canelo continues to turn his back on the biggest threat.
The big one for a long time was David Benavidez and Canelo. Like, everybody wants to see that fight, and they just can't figure out a way to make it happen. And you got to think someone's avoiding somebody, and it's not Benavidez.
No, not at all. You know, I just think Canelo, in a sense, he know how big Benavidez is gonna come in the ring. You know, Benavidez is a great fighter, you know, but he's a big fighter. He's a tall fighter, you know, and I just think Canelo knows, like, why would I want to get in the ring with this guy that's going to be massive come fight time, and I'm not that big of a guy.
Roy Jones Jr. lays bare the calculated delay tactics, admitting that Benavidez possesses every single trait a champion wants to avoid. He argues that Canelo is dragging his feet to maximize the financial reward, fully aware that taking this fight is an enormous high-risk gamble.
Doing all this with my skills because Canelo's not a big guy. He's been fighting big guys his whole career.
Yeah.
You know, and beating them with skill. You know, so you got to tip your hat off to Canelo and what he's accomplished.
Absolutely.
Being 5'7", going up to 175 and fighting these big guys and actually winning. And
knocked out Kovalev.
Yeah.
I mean, it was Kovalev later in his career, but he's still Kovalev.
For sure.
And then having the courage to fight Bivol in his prime.
For sure.
I think that's the fight that probably kept us from getting the Benavidez fight, the Bivol fight. Because I think after that fight, he's like, okay.
Yeah, this dude's big.
This is a little big. Because Bivol, not just big, but he's got that Russian style, light on the feet, in and out, in and out, in and out.
Good boxer.
It's a difficult style to handle.
Yeah.
You know, and the only guy to beat Beterbiev, who's another beast.
Yeah, so I think, you know, him knowing that, and then I think the disrespect that he got from Benavidez had persuaded him to go elsewhere.
Highlighting the psychological edge, Jones Jr. points out that Benavidez enters this matchup with a dangerous level of hunger that Canelo simply cannot match. He emphasizes that a relentless challenger desperate to claim the throne is the absolute worst matchup for an established champion.
It's a real risk there for him for taking the fight. I mean, you know, of course, he's like any other champion. He wants to make you guys salivate what y'all want to make us pay for it, which is smart. I don't think he's scared of Benavidez, but Benavidez is a tough order for anybody right now, especially if you're at the top of your game, because he's very busy, he's big, he's effective, he's aggressive. All the things you don't want in a fighter, David Benavidez is as an opponent, you feel me? So everything you don't want to see in your opponent, David Benavidez is. Now, does that mean you think he can't beat David Benavidez? No, but he wants to make sure that he makes you guys wait and ask and beg long enough that y'all gonna pay for it, then he'll take his chance. Because he knows too that it is a risky chance he's taking.
Roy Jones Jr. dismantles the usual excuses, warning that fighting Benavidez right now is an absolute death trap. He stresses that age and experience mean very little when you're stepping in against a prime, oversized lion with a relentless work rate and an unstoppable gas tank.
Benavidez should be, I ain't gonna say for a fact here, but he should be a tad bit hungrier than Canelo for that spot. You understand? Canelo been in that spot. David wants that spot. So he should be the hungry guy who has to still be careful because Canelo can punch. And, you know, it is what it is, but he should be hungrier than Canelo. Just the fact of how hungry Canelo was.
Tim Bradley attacks Canelo's self-respect, arguing that true pride demands answering a direct challenge instead of backing away. He insists that no amount of past achievements can justify allowing another fighter to repeatedly question your manhood on the global stage. For Bradley, letting a relentless rival disrespect you without stepping into the ring completely destroys the warrior mentality.
He ain't as young as Canelo was. He come from a fighting family. He ain't one of one. His people understand boxing. Canelo's people were supposed to understood boxing when he fought Floyd, but they didn't. Because if you understood boxing, you know to tell Canelo, whatever you do, you don't box Floyd Mayweather. You're not gonna beat him boxing. One of the greatest Mexicans of all time, who just sees a Chavez, could not box Roger Mayweather. He would have lost. So follow the blueprint. It's right there in your face. Y'all didn't. Y'all went out there and let him try to box. Yeah, he's 21, but we can't make the assumption that, oh, he was 21, he wasn't ready. No. My favorite fighter of all time died at 22. He did so much. He had damn near 9 title defenses at 21 years old. Salvador Sanchez at 21 years old. We talking about Wilfredo Gomez, who's 27 knockouts. We talking about Danny Little Red Lopez, Patrick Ford, Zoan Nelson. We talking about Gillis, and he was 19, 20, and 21 years old, beating these dudes. So age is not the thing here. It's knowledge. They didn't send him into the fight with the right knowledge. So it's not about age for Benavidez, and any time right now is the wrong time to fight Benavidez because he's a hungry lion who throws a lot of punches, who we haven't really seen hurt yet, who has a very good gas tank, and who's big for the weight.
Jim Lampley highlights how David Benavidez represents an entirely different level of destructive power that Canelo refuses to confront. He notes that Canelo is deeply frustrated by the sudden loss of public respect despite believing he earned it throughout his entire career. This tension proves that legacy alone cannot protect a superstar when fans believe a dangerous fight is being avoided.
What about Mexican pride? You don't even gotta be a Mexican, you just gotta be a man, right? If you got another man coming to your house, coming in your sport, whatever you wanna call it, bro, and he's calling your name, he's doing the same thing you doing, he fighting, and you the guy, you the cash cow, you the face of boxing, and you don't answer that call, bro, that says something about you, man. You know what I'm saying? You supposed to stand up. You supposed to say, oh, really? Oh, you think you better than me? Okay. No, but, you know, you get everybody, you know, he's proven enough. He's proven enough. I get it. He's proven enough. He has. He has proven himself enough. But Benavidez, man, Benavidez is disrespecting him. He's telling him to grow some balls. He's doing all of that, bro. And if you being Canelo Alvarez and if you have any pride in your dignity and you and your skills, I don't care. I don't care. Step up and face that man, bro.
Lampley explores Canelo's mindset, questioning whether the legend believes his past achievements give him the right to cherry-pick opponents. He suggests that Canelo may simply lack the desire to take on the single most dangerous fight the entire boxing world wants to see. Ultimately, it exposes the divide between a fighter who feels he has nothing left to prove and fans demanding absolute greatness at this stage.
Benavidez is a whole new thing. He's got more power than you have ever dreamed of having. He's going to wipe you out. He doesn't want to hear it. Okay, he doesn't want to be treated to that kind of disrespect from people whose respect he thinks he has very meticulously earned over a long period of time. So for whatever reason, Canelo is not contented at this time. I can't evaluate whether PBC has done a questionable job or a fantastic job for him. It's somewhere in the range of one to the other, but I'm not qualified at this moment to tell you which it was. The bottom line is, over a long period of time...
At this stage of his career, Canelo's reluctance to face David Benavidez is no longer just about business. It's about protecting a carefully built legacy from a dangerous, high-risk monster. The boxing world knows Benavidez is the ultimate threat, but as the clock keeps ticking, time is running out to deliver the fight everyone truly wants to see.
At this point, does he really have to keep proving himself over and over and over by taking the biggest fight available? Or should they pay him just to fight whoever he wants to fight because he's Canelo Alvarez? So, you know, that it's not out of the question that debate goes on in the back of his mind. Haven't I done enough? Shouldn't I get the right to fight who I want to fight? Why are they telling me I have to fight this guy who, you know, whatever he thinks of Benavidez, it isn't at this moment seemingly enough to make him say, I want to go straight to David Benavidez and fight the fight that everybody wants to see. Sometimes you don't want that anymore.
True champions embrace the biggest risks to cement their place in history. Avoiding this fight leaves a lasting shadow over his legacy. If this matchup never happens, history will remember this moment as a deliberate retreat. Is Canelo wisely protecting his throne, or is avoiding Benavidez a permanent stain on his legendary career?